So I brought 3 poems. They're fairly short. I thought I would start with a poem about how I came to write poetry, because I always wanted to write poetry. I think of poetry as a dog that never left me alone. Like a small dog that was constantly, nipping at my heels and insisting that I come along with it, that I address it, and I just didn't. I would shoo it away for many years. And I found myself, even when I was working as an urban planner, writing things. Like if something came up to do some creative writing, I was there. So I was constantly going in that direction, but always kind of not thinking that this was sort of my calling, until much later in life, when I came to the understanding that this is something I needed to do. And at that point I gave up my job, which was at the time training, coaching brand new teachers in schools, and went and did an MFA and never looked back. So I was telling that story about the dog to Greg Orr, who's a very well-known American poet who lives in the East Coast. We were in Canada at a writer's conference, and he said, you should turn that into a poem. And he was very encouraging of me turning this idea of this dog into a poem, and this is the result of that. So, as such to be chosen. She had always been there, trailing me with scent of musk and torn book. Take me in, she said one day, with bark, once command, and twice seductive plea. I felt her rough coat, every inch of her wild, her fluorescent eyes giving away nothing, the fierceness of her canine teeth. Panic swept over me, and I leapt, best to hug familiar territory, the way a toddler holds on to her mother's skirt. But she followed me, up one year, down the next, nipping my ankles, sleeping at my feet, splicing my dreams with her untamed lease. She stayed on until I let her in. I let this dog that walked away from wolf enter me whole, fur, tail, jaw. She'd long known that I belonged to it, not the other way around. Poetry nuzzled me away from self-pity. Be animal, she said, and return me to the wilderness inside myself, where flowers are words that hang from trees, tortillas are halos, and over moist ground, lyrics grow scattered and unattached. Wow.